Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we finished off our Void Crusade, and at some point we can start another one. I don't know which one we'll probably do. I'm thinking maybe Azure or Zircon. But for now, we're gonna just run some intel, just kind of do some for fun missions. And who doesn't love an intel run? You get some wacky modifiers. Oh, that heat resistance is already coming out rough. Ooh, that's actually a lot of heat resist. We'll be fine. It just might take us a little bit to chew through, guys. But it's not like it's a timed mission, so it'll be whatever. So a few days ago, I saw some debatable news. I mean, it's news no matter what, but whether it's good or bad is debatable. I'm on the side of it being good. The current PlayStation head, Jim Ryan, is looking to retire. And he'll retire March of 2023, which it's still 5 months out, but hey, at least we know he's leaving. I'm personally a fan of it. I think his decisions have been very bad for Sony in general. I don't think we really got much of value out of the past few years. And I really do believe stuff like the PlayStation Portal are his making, and they're terrible. A $200 remote access controller. It's the kind of thinking of someone who is detached from the actual consumer base. But I saw people sitting around going, oh, maybe we can get Reggie, I can't remember how to pronounce his last name, Phil's Aim. It's Fils-AME, the guy from Nintendo. I was like, I think Reggie's kinda out of the industry, or kinda on the way out at this point. Like, I don't think he's really looking to step in again. It would be nice, because he does follow, at least it seems he follows a philosophy of make games that are fun. Which I feel like Sony really needs at this point, because their current methodology just seems like, hey, do like one thing, and if it alienates part of our consumer base, oh well. Hence why we keep getting like The Last of Us remakes and garbage like that, and then more God of War. Which is kind of sad, because I've seen people be like, oh, well, Sony's known for their single-player games, and I'm like, so did we just forget, like, Killzone and Resistance and SOCOM existed, or are we just playing coy here? Because they kind of did a bit of everything. They were more known for JRPGs, but they were kind of an all-rounder. They just also had some good single-player games. But yeah, Jim Ryan leaving. I'm hoping it's for the betterment of the industry. Because, God, I really don't feel like having someone somehow worse step in. I don't know, I mean, I do know how they could be worse. They just double down on everything they're doing and try to become the single-player console, which will just alienate multiplayer. And I've seen the argument made before where people... I saw this argument made with Hogwarts Legacy. Good 2 months into the game's launch, you had these games journalists were like, see, it's not that popular, and they're citing player numbers. And I was sitting there, and what they had the gall, gumption, and absolute butt-fucking audacity to do was they compared it to Elden Ring 2 months after launch. And I was like, you realize a game with multiple build options, New Game Plus, multiplayer, both co-op and PvP, has a lot more staying power than a game where there's essentially one build and there's no reason to play a second time. I hate disingenuous kind of incongruent arguments like that because for the games journalism field, it just makes them look like complete idiots. But yeah, I just hope things are better. I'd like to see old games return. I will continue to say that. One of these days, my prayers will be answered and we'll get MAG. We're already getting screwed when it comes to, Dust. Now with Eve Vanguard. They can't do it to us twice, can they? Ah, man, I'm still bummed about Vanguard. Also, terrible name. The copium is just... you can see it. And last I saw for that, the subreddit for Dust was just going thermonuclear on it. Rightfully so. Yeah, I do wonder what will be the future of Sony at this point. Hopefully whoever steps in goes, look, we need to actually kind of revive our old stuff. We need to have a consistent roster instead of just going, hey, we got Last of Us, God of Snore, and Horizon. Great if you want single-player games, but if you're in the market for literally anything else, right now you're just kind of being told to blow it out your ass. And that's not fun. It's also a very, very stupid business decision. I don't know why you would willingly give up that territory. But oh man, we're gonna get foam stars. I just saw that beta was, as of this recording, this past weekend, and I looked at it and I was like, oh yeah, they did a beta. Didn't download it. It's Square Enix trying to be like, we can make Splatoon 2, guys, I swear. And I'm just not interested. If I wanted Splatoon, I'd buy a Switch. If this is their attempt at trying to pull in, like, multiplayer games, this is bad. But sadly, this is kind of what I've grown to expect from Square Enix. They've definitely become a very peculiar company. Yay, Judgment Mission and like 5 other things going off. That would be fine, except I don't like that bonus on execution. So we'll just run another mission. Can't start a new mission while I have pending rewards. What are my rewards? hate when it does this, because I forget how to actually collect the stupid reward. Ah, here. Doesn't mean much to me because I'm not using melee builds. But now we can go back to actually running our mission. But as I was saying with Square Enix, they're so peculiar, and realistically, because I've seen people talk about acquisitions again, if there was going to be an acquisition, I think they would just sell to Sony. But I genuinely don't see a lot of value. What you're getting is Final Fantasy. Oh, and Kingdom Hearts. But even then, Kingdom Hearts is kind of a... that franchise ends the second Disney pulls their license. So you have to be careful because that can end up dying out very quickly. I just don't see a lot of value in them. If there were a big studio or big publisher to get your hands on, I think it absolutely would be Capcom. Because Capcom provides so many different well-established games. You would get Street Fighter, you'd get Monster Hunter, you'd get Resident Evil. I know I'm missing more, but even just off the rip, you're covering fighting games, survival horror, kind of an arcadey game. That's already a very good breadth. Square Enix, you get RPG, and then the new, well, Final Fantasy 14, so MMORPG. Which, they're fine, it's just you're catering to a very specific subset of players and you're not really deviating. What do you guys think of that whole Foam Stars thing? Do you think it's going to be one of those dies out in 6 months kind of games? Because I genuinely think it's going to be a maybe 6 month lifespan, and then it'll be, if they have a roadmap that goes longer, it'll boil down to, hey, we are contractually obligated to fulfill these things. Second it's done, we'll leave the servers up, but we're not doing anything else. Because it just kind of feels like that when you're trend chasing that hard, and especially this late. Maybe with like Splatoon 1, I would have understood trying to go for making a game that emulates the style. But they're already on Splatoon 2, and they're pretty far into Splatoon 2's lifespan. I feel like at this point, everyone who's into that is already in. Oh, I remembered I saw another game thing. Peter Molyneux is making some, like, crypto game, and I was just like, oh god, he never ends, does he? I remember him promising the world when it came to Fable, and every time not delivering near what he was promising. And then what was his studio, 22 Cans? I think with Goddess, like Godus or something like that, and that game, I don't think it ever got finished, or it got kinda done, but it wasn't really what they were promising again. Just kinda shocks me. Which also I find funny, the fact we still have crypto games coming out. I saw a thing, NFTs, the market has bottomed out so hard, they're worth more or less nothing. And I still see, I look on like LinkedIn and I still see jobs where like, oh, we're making a Web3 play to earn game. I'm like, you're already putting yourself behind the 8 ball here, my guy. You really should not be doing this. But who am I to tell these guys to not do it? Plus, probably investment from like crypto bros or crypto firms trying to recoup losses. And everybody thinks that they'll be the one who revitalizes it, and it's like, I don't know, man. I think it's still pretty far out. Plus, there's nothing you can do in regards to, like, stolen crypto. People always go, oh, well, you can track every coin and NFT, where it goes and all this stuff, and it's like, cool. You can't take it back, though. Like, that's kind of the killer, is you can kind of tie it up, but I've never seen an instance where, like, this stuff gets stolen and returned. And people still find ways of getting the stuff, like crypto, moved around, even if it's stolen. You take like 100 whatever crypto bucks and you just divide it into like single digit numbers. You spread it to a ton of accounts and you just keep fanning it out further and further until it's gone through like 50 or 100 accounts, and then you can just send it back to wherever, because you've kind of laundered it. It's still trackable. I mean, if you're persistent enough, you can find it stolen, but that's how this stuff gets cleaned. So I don't think until there's a lot more secure stuff behind it, we'll ever really see it enter gaming and not instantly fail. And I don't know if I'd really want that. I don't like the idea of being like, oh, well, you can, like, on one hand, the idea of, like, you can earn money, that's cool. But I also feel like it's a bit of a weird thing. Because then people will just play games like it's a job. And people already do streaming and content creation and whatnot. Oh my god, this gun sucks. But it's just, it kind of takes away the fun of games when people they start seeing the dollar signs. I don't know how they died, but I'll take it. Wish I could get my recovery stuff up, because I'm tired of getting just bitch slapped with a boulder by this guy. I don't even have enough time to like recover, because he just hits me with something and I instantly lose all suppression. I was contemplating buying Anthem, because it's like $5 on sale, but I'm still looking at it like, this game is dead. This is more or less just for my own kind of morbid curiosity to see how this game is. But I feel like it's just kind of, it's not worth it. It is a shame. I saw people trying to blame the game's failure on being live service. I was like, that isn't the issue. It was mismanaged from the jump. They didn't... What was the stories? That they were doing pre-production for like 5 years. And then they kept flip-flopping on Flight because some higher-up liked it. I was like, why do you care what the higher-up, like, corpo dude says about the game? He's not buying $5 million worth of copies. If you make every game to pander to what your, like, VP likes, then you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. It's a shame. It's weird too because I also saw there's a free-to-play game coming out, Synced. It's another Korean-made, like, I don't know if it's a looter shooter, but I know it's PvE and there's a PvE side. It'll be interesting. But I do have to laugh with, like, the first Descendant, how now we're getting kind of the East Asian market to go, oh yeah, looter shooters can be a thing. Because it felt like they were really lagging behind on that one. I wonder how long till we get a Sword Art Online looter shooter. That's one I'm genuinely surprised they never made. Because that feels like it's right up the alley for that, but those games, from my understanding, they just kind of pump them out. Which still shocks me to this day. You have an anime about, like, people living in an MMO, and you never made a proper MMO around it? Like, how? How do you do that? But I guess I'm not too surprised. Merchandising is very weird. Which, great tangent, I just remembered. There was some small company that does, like, little statues, like busts of video game characters. And they sat there and got told, apparently by Sony, to destroy all their stuff and to not ship out any more product. And they went onto Twitter and they're like, oh, you need to people who didn't get their thing and are getting essentially refunded, you need to go ask Sony why. And people were going, why are you asking us to do it? Clearly this is something on your end you need to handle. Which, I'm glad some people realize that, instead of just essentially being the club wielded by a company against another company. There has to be a reason, whether it was not properly licensing things, or licensing ran out, or failure to pay certain things. I can't imagine a company like Sony just be like, yeah, you know, you're doing everything right, but stop it. Because that doesn't make sense. But a licensing issue? Definitely can see it. For once, I'd like for them not to give me heat resist on the enemies, because it's making this fight real rough. Because I know these guns can do better than this, even though it is a little penalty. I can't wait to get all the traits unlocked on this thing. I want to see what this plasma cannon's really capable of. That was a perfect time for a level up. Haven't heard anything about that planned 40k MMO. Past they already have all the people they need, which is a bit of a bummer. But it's early production, one would assume, so you don't need a ton of people yet. You're still trying to just hammer out a framework. It'll be interesting, but we probably won't see that for anywhere from 2 to 5 years. Since MMOs take a lot longer to make. But I don't even know... I don't know what kind of MMO it's gonna be, because people consider, like, Warframe an MMO, but it doesn't have a lot of the large-scale stuff that's in, like, WoW. Which I do think is kind of becoming more of a common thing of not having the massive part of MMO anymore. Because that's something with the first Descendant I actually liked, was the boss fights. Could use like another player or two, just so we could round it out to like 6 people max. But they don't do huge fights, and I don't think that's bad. Because those really big fights kind of start to weigh on you, and they get really tedious, because it's like, okay, we got like 25 guys just mag dumping or just wailing on a boss. And the only reason he's not dead is because they just turn him into just the meatiest boy possible. And spongy enemies suck. Nobody enjoys just beating on a guy for 35 minutes hoping he dies. I'd rather have lower health, more skill-based fights than just be like, yeah, this is just an attrition fight. Even though attrition fights can be good, I think it has to be designed well. And tons of health and invulnerability phases do not make a good attrition fight. I genuinely just hate invulnerability phases in any fight. They're just really tedious and they disrupt the flow, I think. I would rather have a boss that, if you're going to give him an invulnerability phase, make it a punishment on the player. Where it's like, okay, when you fight this guy, he will start spawning these totems that you have to destroy. If he spawns 6 of them, he'll then become invulnerable until they're all destroyed. So you can have someone on totem duty just wiping them out, keeping that invuln phase out. Or you can just take the hit and keep fighting until that invuln phase pops, and then you gotta go clear. That eye implant might be good. Also, what's our seasonal mission looking like? We can let it go a little longer. A lot of garbage I'm spotting here. Yeah, we don't need that implant. We don't need that thunderhammer. It's a 4 slot. That's not that good. Yeah, I don't think it's really worth it. Yeah, the damage bonus with no enemies right on top of me is cool. And the range damage bonus is cool. But this Eye Implant of Stride, 40% critical damage, increased critical hit strength, an additional chunk of critical hit damage. That's pretty solid. That's a lot of damage being able to be put down on enemies. Do I even want to put... Okay, so we'll go up to there. That's fine. Supreme critical hit chance on skill use stacks until a critical hit. We'll use that because that gets us more crits. Otherwise, yeah, I would have just gone back to... I think getting... Yeah, just that for single DPS. Because suppression half the time doesn't seem to work. And I don't... Okay, so Sniper's Mark's good against targets further than 10 meters. Because the rest of these aren't that good, really. Yeah, I don't know where I'm really going with this build after that. Because I'm not doing suppression, this is... This is all kind of pointless. Because I think I was going to go defense. So I can get the shield efficiency and... something. 2% damage reduction, that's a nice little add-on there. Plus 20% damage reduction from armor. Yeah, I could definitely see some value in that. Health is an option. I just feel like it's a crutch. See, pain suppression could be good. Suppression gain for every bit of HP gain. I think this one... Okay, so we don't get one that does the inverse. Oh, there. HP gain for every 10 suppression gain. So there is value to kind of cycle those two, so I can continually just get HP and suppression. And realistically, that's 450 HP and 450 suppression. Which isn't bad. It's just... That's 3, 4... 9 skill points? Actually 8, my bad. 8 skill points to invest. And enhanced organs, 10% max HP and max suppression, that's a solid amount. Oh, I'll figure it out later. Gotta mulch that. But that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button, it helps out the channel a lot, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.